The twists and turns every driver in the Highline Racing League have taken through the first 12 races lead us to tonight. And here's the kicker. Tonight's twists and turns are at a road course, and it's one of the most unpredictable of which. The Charlotte Roval welcomes us to the Highline Racing League playoffs as the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff welcomes us to qualifying. 2 minutes and 35 seconds remaining on the board for drivers such as Dylan Clark, as he was the fastest man in practice. We'll watch his run here in qualifying. These could be the money laps for drivers getting the momentum in this championship chase. The drivers who are orange on the ticker and driver information are your championship contenders. They'll be identified as such all night long, so you'll know who's in the race and who is not. Due to a dead heat in the 12th position due to wild card scoring, 2 drivers make it in on that 12th seed in Corey Blevins and Connor holding a dead heat there, and that means the number 13 machine shares the spot with the number 81 and vice versa. Chad Winstead goes to the top of the board and then bins it immediately thereafter. It's going to be Scott Wheeler now in 4th in the 97. He's in the championship chase in his own right, but immediately going to the top spot, it is Dylan Clark by 0.8 of a second. And how about that for the number 5 machine? And he's still looking for just a bit more. He's got a 120.902, the fastest lap set in this entire session, practice or qualifying, and he might be the odds-on favorite to get the victory here tonight. Last time we went racing at a road course, well, he came out with a victory by over 25 seconds, and here, while it is not Watkins Glen, the lefts and rights might be suited best to a driver who's done it in the real world before. The tall cart number 5 machine goes down to the apex of every corner, and he meets it as well as anyone possibly can. No fear, all risk and all reward for the number 5 machine, as he seems to be the fastest man here in qualifying, regardless of what anyone else can do. Wheeler falls down to 5th. It's going to be Ramirez now in 6th, and DJ Stagner in position number 7, as Kendall Kerr is in 8th. And with 51 seconds remaining, drivers such as Ryan Potter and Jason McKee make their way onto the board. Potter going to get across the stripe that time by. That's going to be a 123. Good enough for 9th. And James McKee right now, your top spot in the regular season, your regular season champion, is off of the track. He's on pit road, no qualifying time for him. Same with Dylan Petit. They'll be starting in the middle of the field. No time for them. Only 12 drivers have put down a clean lap, and it looks like Clark is put down too quick back to back. His second lap quicker than his first, but it won't be counted as it appears there was an incident on the circuit. Ryan Potter still getting practice laps here, but it appears that qualifying is over, and Dylan Clark is the fastest man in it. The number 5 machine shoots to pole position for a 1-hour event. It's the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff, and every driver in round number 13 knows the stakes. It's all about precision and accuracy. If you are not right every turn around, you're going to fall to the wayside and fall fast. It's a 60-minute race, timed, not lapped. Our first stage is going to be at 15 minutes, and then our second is going to be the halfway point in 30 minutes. From there on out, it's all about the drivers and their ability. The starting grid going to be on your screen, not only the cars, but the numbers and the statistics that go along with them. As it stands, it is Scott Zellner right there, but Dylan Clark, your pole sitter, is not yet on the screen. We'll try to get a close-up shot of the field right now. It looks like the iRacing official pace car already there, and the number 5 machine is not, but he is the man on the top of the board. So without further ado, let's get right into it. This is your starting grid for the first race of the playoffs here in season 15 of the Highline Racing League. It's going to be the man in that number 5 machine, your pole position, and it is Dylan Clark with a 120.902 in position number 1. The outside lane going to be locked up by all championship contenders. It's going to be Chad Winstead in second with a 121.748. Position number 3 going to be Scott Zellner, 121.844, and right beside him going to be Alan Kuhlman outside of row 2. Position number 4, it's the number 8, 121.995, as Scott Wheeler, your defending champion, is in 5th with a 122.192. It's going to be Roberto Ramirez in 6th in that number 42. And a brand new number fought for him there, Shades of Tricon Garage, and it's going to be the 122.424 lap, only 0.02 of a second, at a DJ Stagner in 7th with a 122.4 4. Fourth is going to be Kendall Cruz, settles the score inside of the top 8. He's going to be outside row number 4, 21 machine, 123.083. And then it's going to be Ryan Potter in the 9th position. That's going to be a 123.829. Finally, last man of the top 10 is going to be the Connor Holden machine, 124.095. For him, it's going to be position number 11, Caleb Morrissey with a 124.141. And Corey Blevins is going to be in 12th with a 127.259. And Blevins going to be the final man to put down a timed lap. Position number 13 going to be Justin Gibbs in that 93 off of iRacing calculations. And it's going to be Brad Kress in position number 14. James McKee, your regular season champion, going to be in 15th, and Adam Bazio fought fiercely with him for that top spot in the regular season in the first 12 races. Well, he's not getting a good start to his championship chase in these final 4 events. He'll be starting 16th next to the number 9. Kenny Brooks going to be inside row number 9, and Dylan Petit going to be outside of it in that 18th position, with Casey Heschel in 19th and Andrew Baker in the number 43 machine, rounding out your top 20. In position number 21, there is none. It's going to be a 20-car field here tonight, and we'll send it back one row. As you can see, it is Baker and Heschel there, and the top spot for tonight's event, it's going to be the man in that number 5 machine in Dylan Clark. So without further ado, we've seen it, we've done it. That will be our starting grid for tonight's event, the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff, a 20-car field in the Charlotte Roval, and we'll get the ticker back up on your screen momentarily. That number 5 machine's been the road course favorite all season long. He got it done in dominating fashion at Watkins Glen, but it could be a driver like Chad Winstead, your Mid-Ohio winner in season 14, stands to the test of time. It's a 60-minute test. He is going to have to choose to use his time wisely. The 34 outside line within 1 second of Clark's pace. That might be a wide deficit overall, but if the 5 machine slips up even once, it could turn the tide in the Ford Mustang 711 machine's favor. It's going to be Chevion Ford in the front row, then 2 bow ties right behind him, and you can see it's going to be the Ford Mustang in the number 2 there as well. Roberto Ramirez carries the torch for Toyota in that number 42, and the winner at Sonoma last season in season 14, he put together a dominating run there, but so far no driver has been able to catch the man on the top of the board in that number 5. Now, you might see our lap counters a bit messed up and say we can go about 21 million laps here, maybe more like 214 million. That's a pretty big number, but we're not going to be using that to refer to this race. It's a 60-minute timed event, and the time will go down no matter what. Yellow flags or not, it's 60 minutes from the time the drivers cross the start-finish line, and it's all in the hands of the number 5 machine in Dylan Clark. So get ready for this one as the drivers get set. We're going to be looking forward to going for the first time in the playoff format here in this league. Eliminations are going to be fast and they will be furious, all culminating in a championship event at Auto Club Speedway. But tonight, we're pretty far from there. Coast to coast, we will go. And the Dylan Clark machine getting the man who leads us down as he heads through the bus stop, the chicane, however you'd call it. One final time, it's Dylan Clark and Chad Winstead leading us through to start the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff. Let's get your championship chase underway. And all silent through the first minute. The engines are roaring and some drivers are in a bit of trouble and a bit of commotion. Corey Blevins 23 seconds off the pack as the first issue of the night. Let's find out just what happened. Take it back 40 seconds and take a quick look. The 13 goes around on his own, and that's one of the drivers in the playoffs here. Bad news for the number 13 machine to kick off this championship Chase road course is certainly not going to be in his favor, and he's not going to be a big fan of them if tonight continues the way it has started. It's Dylan Clark, the fastest man on the board so far. He's ahead by about 2 seconds already, making the gap wider and wider each time through. It's going to be Alan Kuhlman there in third, Scott Zellner going to be in fourth, it's going to be Scott Wheeler in fifth, and Roberto Ramirez is going to be in position number 6. Stagner going to be there in seventh, Kendall Kerr down to eighth, here, and Ryan Potter going to be ninth. Final man in the top 10 as Kendall Kerr gets in the wall is Connor Holden, but the number 21 smacks it right there. Now he's in a bit of trouble. Guys are already beginning to make some mistakes. You got to try to avoid them all night long, but it is always a challenge as the number 21 Lucas Oil Machine takes it through corner by corner. He's now got Ryan Potter all over him, but Dylan Clark is pulling away with this lead, and that's going to be the big trend for guys when they get that clean air. You're able to pull away so long as you just hit your marks and hit them just a bit quicker than your opposition. Looking back right now, it's about a half a second between every driver in the field, and they're all getting geared up for the long haul. An estimate of 41 laps on the board right now. Kendall Kerr's in the wall again, my oh my, but he will not make the chicane here. It's going to be a big time issue for the 21 machine as Kendall Kerr falls off the radar, and he's going to be much slower off exit. That 21 machine, he's been in the wall multiple times in this lap alone, and now he's going to be up high with a speeding penalty. It sends him back to 16th, and it looks like Justin Gibbs won't get him for any more, but it's going to be Kendall Kerr going down a pit road here, so already big time trouble for one of your championship contenders. As Justin Gibbs passed by, so does the number 54 machine of Kenny Brooks. Kendall Kerr makes it in for the first pit stop of the night, surely not by his own will. It's now going to be a dead even battle up in front on timing. Dylan Clark still faster by only just a bit, but Alan Kuhlman sets the fastest lap in the top 3, and overall, it's Scott Wheeler with a 122.217, the fastest of the night. This moment, it seems like he's got a lot of momentum, and he's now going to be able to put it together on his teammate in Scott Zellner. He's going to get in the wall just a bit, though. That's going to be bad news. We saw Kendall Kerr, one hit makes all the difference. So driver like the 97, he wants to avoid that, of course he does, and it looks like he's going to get a bit of a taste of the wall for the first time here tonight. 56 minutes on the record from here on out. 5 minutes almost completed, and now Alan Kuhlman, pressured by not one but two drivers, as the number 2 machine tries to undercut him through the entry. And Kuhlman gets that jump off exit that he needs. Charlotte Roval, it uses half of the oval circuit, turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, you've known them well. Tracks as iconic as Charlotte with their big events such as the Coke 600. Well, in 2018, they introduced it to the NASCAR Cup Series, the Charlotte Roval. It's become a hit since then. And while they do block off, for the most part, turn number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all used in their oval form, and the infield road course has become a staple as well. Right now, Alan Kuhlman, he's holding himself down quite nicely as Scott Zellner still right there behind him, and Roberto Ramirez now chasing, but goes way wide that time through, and the 42 has to pick up the pieces and get it going once again. Oh, so close to making a pass there, but not much more can do, as it looks like the 42 falls back about a tenth of a second. That time by gets it back on the way, though, so he should be able to recover from here on out, avoiding major damage. That's the game plan here, as now Kendall Kerr and Andrew Baker are 1 lap down. Corey Blevins is 41 seconds down, and Kenny Brooks in big trouble in his own right. That number 54 now about 38 seconds off the pace. The 54, however, going to be back on the move here and now. It looks like very little damage, if any, cosmetically, so he should be good to go for the rest of the way. Justin Gibbs going to be on his way in that 93 machine. He's 26 seconds off paces. Ryan Potter gets in a bit of trouble. He's being fired out to the outside line, and it is clear. Bozzi gets by, makes some contact with Brad Cresto, and they're going to be 3 wide off exit here, and the 99 is going to get the worst of it, being pressured by many drivers at once. Caleb Morrissey gets in the fray here. It's going to be almost a pass for the 6, but the 31 gets through, and Dylan Petit takes it work for 11. Top 10 guys still within 20 seconds of the leader as Caleb Morrissey goes down to the inside line, and now Caleb gets that 12th position. He's a 2-time winner this season, got it done on the cutoff race for the championship hunt, winning at Talladega, and now looking to get himself in a good motion. It's not one of his strong suits in this league, road courses are, but he still is running serviceably in that 12th position. A serviceable night is all he needs right now to keep himself in good spirits. Dylan Petit in that 31 breaks away just a bit with Brad Kress there in 10th, and these guys are still running in order. Dylan Clark able to break away an extra second. Now Chad Winstead is 3 seconds back. Originally, it was about a 1.5 gap that maintained itself all the way until the start of lap number 5. So now Winstead in a bit of trouble, slowly but surely losing time on the leader, but it is no worries for his hold on second. He's got about a 5-second advantage to that spot as Alan Kuhlman with the rest of the second pack. They're all so close to each other, you could put a blanket under them, or at least you could have, as they get a bit spread out during the oval portions of the track. And as Kuhlman makes it in first, it's going to be a big send there by Scott Zellner. Nothing he can do, though. Just breaks it a bit later, trying to force a mistake out of that number 42. He already did. He got by, of course, but the 8 machine, he's trying to get another out of him. Roberto's going to be 6 right now, watching this battle. Has to have a watchful eye here. Any mistake could be a position as both drivers bobble through the first series of turns. This is one of the trickiest segments. America's home for racing, plastered on that wall, and it could be the home for contact for many of these drivers. It's a very, very precise segment, and while you do have a lot of runoff in the good majority of the infield, road course, and even the oval, that might be the most treacherous portion for any driver, especially after a hot lap. Put a quick one down and you've got to get right back to your marks. Don't try to extend yourself too far or you might just wreck. No spots have been transferred just yet, as now Alan Kuhlman's breaking away just a bit, and while Kuhlman has a 1:22.314 as his best, the best for the man up in front, it's Dylan Clark, and that 1:29.33 is the best by just about 0.3 of a second. Brian Casey, thank you for stopping by. Great to have you aboard tonight as the number 5 machine now pulls away to a 4-second lead. And Brian's asking us, do tires play a role on this? Well, we got some feedback from the drivers. We were just reading that message, so apologies for a little bit of a delay in getting this one through. We talked to them after Talladega, of course, wanted to see what they thought, especially going into this championship hunt. The Charlotte Roval is a bit less like Watkins Glen when it comes to tire mechanics. These tires do, in fact, wear. I've had the experience of it very recently, put down a league race of my own at this combination, and the tires can wear pretty big, so you got to keep a watchful eye out on the way your car drives, and you might have to have a watchful ear as well. You can hear the tires grating in iRacing, and especially at a track like the Roval, it becomes a prominent factor. Watkins Glen, you don't see it all too much, but here in Charlotte, it's a big deal, as right now it's going to be a side-by-side battle between both the Brad Kress machine and the Caleb Morrissey number 6, as Adam Bozzi tries to defend on the both of them. So far, not doing a bad job as Kress almost gets ran out to the grass. It's going to be a big move there as the 6 keeps it in 11th and chases down 10th. Brad, though, holding no prisoners. He wants to get back into it, but Casey Heschel now going to go right down the inside line and make it yet another battle for the spot. The number 10 machine in position as Adam Bozzi breaks away just a bit more. And the more these guys distract one another, the easier it is to hold on to a spot. So Adam being in front of that battle, it gives him a spot. Caleb Morrissey was able to take a spot, but DJ Stagner in big trouble. That car is destroyed, and luckily for the other drivers, he's on the runoff segment. He was running backwards there. That would have been much, much worse than we anticipated. And Adam Bozzi in trouble too. Looks like Stagner down at pit road will take a 30-second replay. This one looked real dangerous, and the 64 just did not have an off exit there, and the chicane caught him out. And the 27, Adam Bozzi, I'm pretty sure he missed the apex there, missed the line in, and almost touches the 64, but gets back on his way. So 2 very treacherous moments there at once. The Adam Bozzi machine still going, but DJ Stagner is done. Kenny Brooks retired as well. Andrew Baker, Ken Loker, they're still going as it stands. They'll be given at least 1 spot each. That's going to put them up in 17th and 18th respectively, as both Stagner and Brooks retire on the same lap. Now Dylan Clark is a 5-second lead as they come off in a turn number 2's exit and go into the chicane. Once again, the Tums Hartberg turns at the earlier segment of the track, but a lot of branding for Medicine. Trilogy takes the backstretch chicane, and the front stretch is not sponsored, but it comes right down to pit road in the Geico restart zone. A lot of identifying marks, and these guys have to hit their marks in order to succeed. It's a game of memory for every driver, and right now the best memory goes to the number 5, but Chad Winstead is much quicker than the next man. He's 7 seconds ahead of Alan Koopman now. He's 11 seconds ahead of a driver like Roberto Ramirez. He's got very good distance to the rest of the field right now. The intervals will show you these guys are really far off the guys up in front. And Dre Hale's coming into the chat. Thank you for stopping by. There is a penalty if you cut the track. Now we're going to show you it again. Adam Bozzi had a bit of an issue there. We'll take it back a minute or so, and you could see that he had to slow down as he cut the circuit. This is an instant replay with the number 27. You have to slow down. iRacing automatically will give you a penalty. No matter what, it's at their discretion. The admins will not clear it. And here you can see the 27. He misses the braking zone. He's going to have to go into the segment and stop and go. The Goodyear rubber gets much slower, just about counted as a stop, and he gets it going once again. But you do have to give away positions if you cut the track. Thank you for stopping by. Great to see all the drivers or fans, what have you, coming in to ask these questions. There's a lot of different things about NASCAR and iRacing, but many similarities that bring us some of the best simulation racing on the planet. Racing online, it has been a gift to a lot of these drivers, showing their skills night after night. And right now, Dylan Clark showing his skill. He's been flawless so far through 9 laps. 47 minutes and 44 seconds remain on the board as Dylan Clark takes it to lap number 10. Chad Winstead going to be 5.5 seconds off, and it's going to be Alan Koopman in third right now with Scott Zellner in fourth. It's Scott Wheeler fifth, Roberto Ramirez in sixth, and Connor Holden having a great night so far. He's one of the final 2 drivers to make it into the playoff race, and as a matter of fact, he's the dead last man in this equation. He was tied for 12th coming in, and since there was no rule saying there would be a cutoff based on anything like wins, he's in, and right now putting together a great race, better than Corey Blevins so far. That's a very important thing for him as he comes in with absolutely no playoff points. He's going to have to make up a bit more time. He's got guys like Ramirez in front, but running in 7th, he makes a mistake. It's going to be right to the Tom's heartburn turn, and it might be heartburn for him as he loses 1 and now 2 positions at once. And as soon as we mention it, it looks like it's going to be a bit more trouble than we anticipated. He stays in 10th. He's still running well, but that 81 falls to the wayside and now has the 9 machine of James McKee chasing him for a top 10 spot. And just when we thought the 81 was putting together a run he needed, he's going to fall back a few spots, and now James McKee on his bumper. Let's ride on board with the man in that number 9. Connor holding the cord to our timing and scoring statistics, lost 4 seconds compared to his average lap around the track. Right now, the last lap for the leader was a 121.701, about a second worse than the overall best lap that he's ran this night. So it is tire wear coming into the equation, and James McKee got real close to getting into the top 10 that time by. And when it comes to lap machines, well, you can see it's a bit of trouble up in front, but these guys so far do not have to yield. Of course, we haven't seen many lap guys, but in the case that they do come close to a leader, or close to a leader, as we get it a little twisted up on our tongue there, they will have to move out the way depending on how iRacing determines it. Most often than not, iRacing gives them the blue and yellow flag, which indicates there's a leader coming your way. Right now we're watching Ryan Potter. He'll be next up to be lapped on this table of timing and scoring. The 99 right now, a minute off of your leader, and when the leader's within about 3 seconds, well, he'll have to eventually move out the way. Now, I'm pretty sure it's a gentleman's agreement here in this league. We don't often see issues between lappers and leaders. They do move out the way, and most often than not, you can't even keep up the pace as a lapper with that leading man. Last time by, Ryan Potter ran a 125.603. Dylan Clark ran a 122.071. He's about 3 seconds a lap faster, and that's without any crucial mistakes. So if you're a lap machine at this point, you may as well give that spot away. Keep your car clean. Try not to get involved with the championship race. No meddling in that. You don't want to be involved. That's for certain. And right now, Dylan Clark knows it as he's got another machine in his sights. Andrew Baker is going to be a prime example of what's going to happen between these guys as lappers and leaders. Right now, Baker in the 17th position tonight. He's 1 lap behind the leader already, and the Kerr's 2 laps down as is. And the number 43 got some major damage to get this race going, as you might see on a close-up view, which we'll try to give, as Adam Bonzi can have a bit of trouble. He's still going. Quick checkup on him. Andrew Baker does have some rear end damage. That spoiler seems to be all out of sorts. With our close-up drone shot here on FTN, you can see the flat-out Motorsports machine just lets him by, just like that. Takes it way wide. You didn't even notice that the number 5 was coming into the frame, and there you have it. The lap machines here It's a lot of respect in this league, and that is a prime example. Right now, Chad Winstead about dead even with your leading man. It's about a 6-second gap between first and second, with Scott Zellner there in third. It's going to be Wheeler right there in fourth. These two are teammates, so they are playing ball together here. Not much more that they can say. Dylan Clark, however, is your stage one winner, and we almost didn't even recognize the fact that he is. Now, our first stage came at minute 15, no yellows, and the second one comes at the 30-minute mark. You'll see the race information going to be on your screen right now. Take a quick look at this graphic we prepared for tonight's event. 15 minutes and 30. Those are your stage breaks for a 60-minute showdown in the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff. So if you're joining us tonight, this is the way it's going to go down. 60 minutes of non-stop racing, and right now that number 5 machine is your race leader, and he's backing up an incredible performance from Watkins Glen earlier in the season. A one-time winner as a rookie. He's made a great campaign of it in the playoffs for the first time in his first appearance as a league member, and right now he's leading the way in the first race of the championship quest. So great to see for him. 43 minutes remain on the board as we get the ticker back up on your screen. He's now got about a 7-second lead over Chad Winstead, 6.9 seconds, a nice gap to be exact. And Adam Bossi in big trouble this time by down pit road he goes, 13 laps in. The 27 machine makes his way in. It looks like a loss of control perhaps with the tires, and he's making his way in very, very early. Does not want to risk anything, so he's going to try to get onto the slick tires earlier than anyone else, and he makes it in quite easily. Chad Winstead that time by loses about a second on his average lap. That gives about a half a second more to the man in that number 5, with Scott Zellner in third and Scott Wheeler there in fourth. The closest battle on the racing circuit right now seems to be between the men in the positions of 10 and 11. Blacktop teammates, the 9 and the 29. That is James McKee and Brad Kress right behind him. Going to be Caleb Morrissey right now, chased down by the both of them, and Morrissey now in the 9th position. He's got the number 9 right behind him, trying to take it into the single digits, and Morrissey making his way through Fisher Studios. Thank you for stopping by, and we'd like to announce something. Here am now. FTN has opened an official Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel, go to our Patreon link in the description or www.patreon.com/Fireball Talks NASCAR. Fisher Studios, the first official partner in this new expansion of Patreon, and we will be having more content related to that group very soon. As Zellner's in a big trouble, and Scott Zellner almost goes around there, loses about 10 seconds on his average lap. 30-second replay. Let's find out what happens. Scott Zellner goes down around the Pampers number 2, and it looks like a great time to enter, Jordan. You can see a lot of action just like that. Zellner gets it all lost on the curb there, and these curbs can be treacherous. Hits his teammate, and then Ramirez gets by, and Zellner lucky to still be in the 6th spot. A nice 360 gets him back underway, and that number 2 just has to keep on driving. As it stands, he's now going to be about halfway through the circuit. He still is just outside the top 5, and now Scott Wheeler has some damage on that front end, and now that means that Roberto Ramirez has a chance to make the spot up. Ramirez, one of your most recent winners of a road course in this league, Sonoma Season 14, and it could be the big 3 of the road courses up in front if Wheeler does indeed budge. Right now, though, he's doing a great job. That number 97 machine is keeping himself in the defensive, as he knows that the damage might accumulate to be something much worse. We've seen 2 drivers retire due to damage, including DJ Stagner, Kenny Brooks, and Kerr, Andrew Baker 2 laps down due to an incident, and Corey Blevins 1 lap down now. Ryan Potter still hanging on, but he's about a minute and 15 off of your leading man. And Dylan Clark in that number 5 machine still leads by just about 9 seconds. He's been on a tear, and it looks like we're being told we're about 50 away from 1,000. That is the case, but a big night for us on FTN so far. NASCAR on one stream and the Highline Racing League on another. Always great shows put on by both of these leagues. Of course, NASCAR, that's a NASCAR sanctioned event, but these races are as exciting as they can get. So we'd love to have you around for the rest of this NASCAR. It's a great show put on by guys like Radford, Falkingham, and Daniel Rockefeller, but here we're putting on in a different style, and it's going to be the number 5 machine of Dylan Clark, keeping it strong. 9 seconds up as your leader as they come down to the lap number 17 mark. He's out in his own world by a wide margin. Chad Winstead going to be in the 2nd spot by now, 10 flat seconds, and Scott Wheeler's in 3rd in about 21 seconds. The gap between himself and the leading man. Roberto's in fourth right now. He's still chasing him down. And Ramirez, let's look inside the cockpit at number 42 for Mobile 1. It's Roberto Ramirez fighting for his championship hopes. He's one of the final guys to make it in on the first wild card slot of 2. He's a one-time winner this season, but he's been on a nice consistency streak since then, getting it done on a fuel mileage race at Michigan, and from there converting great finish after great finish. It looks like Connor Holden has a bit of trouble that time through. That number 12 machine is still going 12th position. The 81 is, and while he does have a bit of trouble, loses about 2 seconds on his average lap. Still kicking. Looks like he got a bit of a wobbly exit off of turn number 3. And when it comes to understanding what the standings will be, as a matter of fact, I'll be in charge of doing that for the remainder of the season. So we're going to try to make sure that's up to date on the Twitter. If you do want to find out all about that, we'll try to post it on Friday, as that's when I usually get all my work done for these broadcasts. So look at Fireball Streams and at Fire Talks NASCAR on Twitter, and we'll try to keep you up to date on everything going on with the championship standings. We'll try to do a readout here, as we do not have a graphic prepared for tonight. James McKee comes in with 30 playoff points, and second's going to be Alan Kuhlman. Third's going to be Caleb Morrissey. Fourth is Adam Bozzi. Chad Winstead is fifth, and Dylan Clark, who's leading the way with a dominating run so far, well, he is in sixth. It's Terry Brooks in seventh, and Scott Wheeler in eighth, and right now Wheeler is on that cut line above Ramirez in ninth by 1 point. It's going to be Dylan Petit in position number 10, Kendall Kerr in 11th, dead heat with Petit, and then it's Corey Blevins with 1 playoff point, and then Connor Holden with none. So 13 drivers in this first round, and we will eliminate it down to 8 on the next one. A dead heat for 12th means that everything got a bit switched up, and we go from there. All or nothing for your playoff spot. I believe that's going to be another lead, Jordan. Well, great to hear you're still out here. A great show that we've got put on for tonight. And Charlotte, it's always a tricky track. Now we know that the Stock Car Racing League Redline Truck Series, which you were part of, went there with the oval, but the Roval, it's another beast. The 2.28 mile circuit is one of the most eccentric on the NASCAR Tour. Nothing quite like it, even though there are road courses, many now, including the likes of Circuit of the Americas, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and at one point in America. Well, this track, it is unparalleled. There's nothing quite like it indeed. It's Winstead right now in second, about 11 seconds out. It's Roberto Ramirez in the fourth spot, and he's now knocking on the door. That's Scott Wheeler, number 97. It's really close that time through, but not close enough for the liking of that number 42. You know he wants to get that spot and get it quick. Got close, but not going to make it stick. Coming down to the first segment of the circuit all over again. Wheeler takes it the same way as Ramirez, but that time by, it looks like the number 97 machine runs a 122.402. Ramirez runs a 122.244. So Roberto is quicker, but not by all too much here. We'll see whether or not he has enough momentum to make it stick sometime soon. Dylan Clark makes his first bobble of the night because he has lap machines there, and it looks like these guys giving a bit more of a fight. It's a 2-wide battle with lap machines up in front, nowhere they can go, and the number 5 goes down low. Does he make it go down on the apron? It looks like that is not. Kendall Kerr lets him by first. Will Adam make it stick next? It looks like that he will. Dylan Clark takes it down to the inside line. No trouble for him. Adam goes wide, and the battle continues. Back again. It's Bozzi who gets let off just a bit. It's going to be Kendall Kerr who makes it right through. And now that number 27 for Bearcat Motorsports in 14th. 1 lap down. It's been a dominating performance so far for the Dylan Clark machine. 10 seconds ahead of your leader and 20 ahead of third. Right now he's got everyone lapped up to the 13th position. The number 93 of Justin Gibbs, the last man on the lead lap right now, as the battle for second is still the fiercest on the track. And taking a rear view perspective from that number 97 machine, you can see every inch matters here. Every run off the exit of a corner or a straightaway, it all comes down to the most important parts. If you mess up here in the front stretch, you will be in for a wild ride. Scott Wheeler saw his teammate and Scott Zellner make a mistake through the first turn, and it looks like not trying to hit the curb too intense. The sausage section, that blue segment that's a bit higher, that's where he gets tripped up on. The underbody of these cars cannot take that, and all the turbulence in the aerodynamics, well, that sends these guys down and around. Luckily for the number 2, he's still going in the 6th position, but it could have been much, much worse if he went at a different angle into the wall. The front end, he could have hit it, and that would have been his motor for the night. It could have been the rear end, which takes a lot away from the downforce of this car. Either way, he gets very lucky, and his teammate gets luckier. To still be in third after all this time, Still has the number 42 breathing down his neck, but he has not lost a spot, and he continues to fight another lap and another day. Right now, Scott Zellner going to be in 6th. He's chasing down Alan Kuhlman lap after lap. That time by was about a second a lap faster. It was a 123.993 for Alan Kuhlman, and it was a 122.119 for Scott Zellner. And it looks like that number 2 machine slowly but surely makes his way into the sight of the number 8 every time around. Kuhlman having a bit of trouble keeping it quick as the tire wear gets worse and worse. And now Zellner within about a half a second on making a spot for 5th. Work for his number 2 machine. It could be the top 5 once again after a heartbreaker early on with that incident. And while he did fall out of the podium, he still is there for some good points payout. Well, he's not one of the guys in the championship hunt. As a matter of fact, I believe he's currently the highest placed driver in this race who's not in the playoffs. He still wants that checkered flag, and if push comes to shove, you know he'll try to make his way up there for that win. It still is about a bit of a pipe dream, 32 seconds off the leader, but it ain't over till it's over, and if it all goes wrong up in front, it still could be Zellner's. Keep an eye out for that as the night goes on. That number 2 machine won't give up as he chases down the ever struggling Alan Kuhlman. And looking back a bit further, guys like Caleb Morrissey and Brad Kress continue to battle. It looks like now Brad has the better of not only Caleb, but his teammate in James McKee. That number 29 looked to be in the back end of the battle about 15 minutes ago, but 20 laps in, it looks like now he has himself ahead of both of them as they come up on the lap machine of Andrew Baker. The 43 keeps on the same line for now, lets him go right by nice and easy, and the 29 now has himself looking for the number 49 of Casey Heschel. Heschel, as it stands, though, is 4 seconds up, but he is not quicker that time by. It was a 123.956 for the man in that 49. It was a 129, well, for no driver, but a 122.399 for Brad Kress. So Kress is about a second a lap faster in his own right, and it looks like Scott Zellner in trouble. No, it's going to be a strategic stop. 20 laps in, we are now seeing our first pit cycle of the night. Scott Zellner makes it in time. It's going to be a perfect entry for him, and now we might just see more drivers make their way in as the race goes on. This time through, looks like Dylan Clark does not choose to enter pit row. We'll see whether or not that changes as this time by he stays right down to the inside line, but it looks like he still has a bit to go to the front stretch. It's going to be Zellner, the first man in, looking for the new tires early, try to get that advantage on the short run. Will it work in the long run, though? That's a big risk, and it looks like right now there's no guarantee what will come to the drivers who come in early. The undercut could work, or will the overcut be the way to go? We'll find out as we're now a minute away from the halfway point of tonight's event. And Dylan Clark leads the way so far by 12 seconds over Chad Winstead and the like. The 34 machine fading further and further back. Scott Wheeler, will he come down this time by? His teammate made it last time through. Will it be the move for the 4 horsemen to make it down before the 30-minute mark? We'll find out this time by as they're side by side for position number 2. And dead even now, Ramirez is the inside line coming in. He's going to make it shake, and he's going to take that spot. Ramirez now going to be up into the position number 3, and the podium, the 42 is on. This is exactly what he needed, as right now Chad Winstead goes down to the pit road, and now Ramirez scored as a man in second. Winstead makes it in, gonna have to make himself a perfect stop here. 4 tires and fuel is gonna be the way to go. Some drivers choosing to take a splash, some drivers gonna fill up the tank for safety and stability, as right now 22 laps in. It's Dylan Clark holding forward. It's Chad Winstead in 5th after his pit stop, and Alan Kuhlman will have to come down sometime soon as he's now scored in 4th without a stop. It's going to be the Petit machine, the Morrissey machine, and James McKee as well, all coming in at once. And now at the halfway mark, coming across the line next time through, will Dylan Clark be the stage winner? We'll find out. 30 minutes remaining on the board this time by Dylan Clark, due to take his 2nd stage win of the night, and he's gonna sweep the stages. Can he sweep them and go for the win again? We'll find out. The checkered flag falls for the 2nd stage, and it's gonna be Dylan Clark, the winner of stage number 2. 30 minutes remain, and now he's gotta hold on for the checkered flag overall. And Dylan Clark going to be able to win that 2nd stage. Great for him. Extra playoff points to put himself in striking distance of the leaders here. And that's exactly what he needs to make it up into the next round of the playoffs. Of course, the round of 8 going to be coming up next. This is the round of 12 extended to 13 to a wild card dead heat. And that number 5 not affected. He's currently ahead of that tiebreaker and ahead of the cut line coming into this one. And he certainly is going to be coming up ahead of it after tonight. He's swept both stages, taking all the playoff points from every driver, and the checker flag now half an hour away from his grasp. He's going to go down to the inside line on Dylan Petit here. Petit is scored as the man in the 11th position. Came down pit road though. Dylan Clark has not. Next man to come in, it's going to be Brad Kress in that number 29. 8th spot he is in right now according to time and scoring, and he'll fall back a bit further as he makes it in before your leading man. Will Dylan Clark choose to make it through this time by though? Caleb Morrissey putting pressure down on that number 5. He will certainly have the high side and the inside advantage coming into the first turn, and that time through, Dylan Clark stays out nonetheless. And it looks like this number 5 machine looking to go all the way, or at least as long as he can, on this stint. Of course, gaining more and more. Right now, it looks to be about 22 seconds ahead of the Roberto Ramirez machine in second. And he might be waiting for Ramirez and the like to go down pit road so he can have an even bigger gap when he comes in for his service. Wheeler that time by makes it out. No entry to pit road for the 97. Alan Koodman, one of the very few guys up in front who still has a chance to make it in. Will he choose to this time by? It looks like he will not. A few guys trying to chase it for a longer distance and a longer time period as it's a big shuffle up between guys like Petit and Morrissey, and it's going to be double file side by side right out corner exit there, and they're coming into oval number 2 right there dead even. Morrissey in the wall. Petit goes around. Do they keep it going? It looks like they do, but the first incident of the night, and it's going to be a multi-car involving Petit and Caleb Morrissey. Let's find out just what happened. No caution flown, but that is indeed a big hit. Let's take it back, find out all the action, and the 31 right there in your frame. They banged doors for the first time, not here, but coming in to the final segment of the infield road course, side by side, running out of room. The 6 goes as wide as he can. Dylan Petit takes the apex. He has the preferred line in, and the number 6, no more room for him, goes all the way up high, then goes right down to the 31, and that's what's going to be causing this incident. Both drivers able to get back on their way. Bruce Souls, thank you for stopping by. Chad Winstead right now scored in 4th, and that 34 machine has been a road course weapon all season long. In a good way, he's been one of the fastest of the road courses in our experience broadcasting this league. He's got 1 win at Mid-Ohio last season and looking to get it done at a road course again tonight. As it stands, 36 seconds off your leader, but still running in 4th. That's how intense it's been all night long in regard to strategy. Now, Winstead did come down to pit road. Right now, he's about 36 seconds away from Dylan Clark. The average pit stop is about 33 seconds, so Clark will have to come in sometime soon to make sure he keeps himself out in front. It could be this time by for the number 5, as it looks like keeping the lead will be a matter of tenths of a second. So far, the fastest green flag pit stop by Caleb Morrissey with a 31.9 second stop. Alan could have the potential to beat it though, and will he do so? It looks like that he will not. Going to be about 32 seconds when he's still in the box, so it's going to be a total of 33.8 overall. Not bad, but the number 5 is out even still. And it seems like despite everything, only a few drivers get an advantage on Dylan Clark on new tires, and even then, it's for the first few laps. Right now, Winstead on new tires about a second slower than Dylan Clark on his original set, and this number 5 machine is all set to go all the way. One guy was way up high. That looks to be Connor Holden there, and he gets it back going, but it's going to be Ryan Potter in a bit of trouble in his own right, and Potter now behind the man in that 93 in Justin Gibbs. Gibbs going to be scored in the 8th position as it stands. The 81 and the 99 far off that mark, and right now the 81 of Holden is a lap down, and that number 5 of Dylan Clark chasing both of these drivers time after time. Every tenth of a second matters as the number 5 machine takes it down to oval turn number 2, and this could be the time he comes through pit road, but it seems to be a bit unpredictable out of the guys who are up in front. Dylan Clark, Roberto Ramirez, 1st and 2nd have yet to come to pit road, so they're certainly thinking of something different compared to the rest of this field here. 1st and 2nd yet to come in. Then it's guys like Winstead who have, and the rest of the field has either come down or they're off cycle by a wide margin. As it stands, will the 5 machine come down a pit road this time through, going at a speed of 150 miles an hour? He will not. Gonna not come down pit road this time by. Will Roberto Ramirez choose to? We'll find out. He's about 22 seconds off your leader there in second. And this big distance makes it a bit more challenging to understand what the move is for each and every driver. It becomes more and more challenging to analyze and understand these decisions, as right now only 7 drivers in the lead lap, and it goes down to Justin Gibbs currently in 7th on his original stint. So as it stands, it looks like only 6 drivers on cycle are on the lead lap, but it will be more than that when the man in that number 5 comes down a pit road eventually in the rest of this race. He'll have to come down at least one more time. Ramirez makes it right by the Kendall Kerr machine just like that. Easy pass on a lap machine. Not much to be said, not much to be done, but right now the lap machine's battling fiercely, and Dylan Petit gaining more and more time on Caleb Morrissey. We saw them make big-time contact going into the oval section of the road course, and you could see around this point 5 laps ago, they were in big trouble. But both these drivers able to get it back on their way. The 31, as a matter of fact, does not have much damage, and it looks like Caleb Morrissey evidently is still fast enough to gap the number 31 despite a head-on impact. And as they come down into the chicane once again, Brad Kress leads a big battle, and now they're coming up on Andrew Baker, a lap machine here, so this could be a bit of a problem for them, but it looks like it won't be. Baker lets him by quite easily. Caleb Morrissey going to be there on the inside line in the 9th position, and Dylan Petit there in 10th. Easily going to be able to make it through if the 43 doesn't block him. Way down low the 31 goes, and while Baker doesn't mean to do it, it looks like that could have been a bit of blocking there between the lap machines and the leaders. Good on the 43 though to get out of the way there. Could have been much worse, as still Morrissey chases Brad Kress. It's going to be 22 minutes and 46 seconds remaining on the board, and you know that means, as always, with 22 laps or 22 minutes remaining, let's crank it up with the best cameras on iRacing. Track cams for Gorman's the best viewing experience for any driver, any fan, any broadcaster, and we hope you enjoy viewing these angles as much as we enjoy using them. Let's crank it up with 22 minutes remaining on the clock, uninterrupted on FTN, as the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff gets itself into the final few laps. Let's get it going. 22 minutes to go. Crank it up courtesy of Track Cams for Gorman's, the best cameras on iRacing. Their link is in the description below. And with 20 minutes remaining on the board, let's get it back on the road. Your track cams for Gorman's Crank It Up is over, and we'll go from here uninterrupted. Now, one thing I might have seen during that Crank It Up, a big time incident between two drivers who have already had some contact before, and those two Caleb Morrissey and Dylan Petit. Let's take it back for an instant replay once again, and this is the action. The scenes, well, it's gotten a bit nuts. You can see Petit just lays it in on the quarter panel and dives right in, and the Morrissey machine has no chance. That's what happened in response and in retaliation for the most recent incident between the two. Well, this is the new one, and this is a comeback just like that. Morrissey now going to be in 13th, and Adam Bozzi is now in 11th as Dylan Petit has made his way up into position number 10. And it looks like it's going to be big trouble for Dylan Clark here. And he's going way slow. Not quite sure what's going on here at all. And I do believe we have a bit of an issue on the circuit. It looks like guys are slowing down and slowing down big. So under this assumption, we are under a yellow flag with 18 minutes remaining. I'm not quite sure. Yet again, everyone slows down at once, and it looks like a yellow flag, a virtual safety car in an NASCAR event, an iRacing event. How about that? And Dylan Clark currently is your leader under the virtual yellow flag. I don't believe the pace car is out on the track right now, and I don't believe that there was anyone else who got involved in an incident. Corey Blevins might be the cause here, and he looks like he lost an awful lot of time on this lap, so I'm not quite sure what brings this one out, but with 18 minutes remaining, the number 13 had damage beforehand, and then the yellow came out, so these guys got the signal to back it down, and now we're all even again. But it looks like Dylan Clark back on his way, so the yellow flag is over, the virtual safety car is off, and a bit confusing there, but certainly that was a virtual yellow for the first time this season on a road course. Down to the inside line, and he goes right down to the apex, and the Italo kart number 5 is back like nothing happened. A bit of a perplexing incident, as it seems like a track blocking incident might have occurred, but it looks like a virtual yellow cleared up immediately, and we are good to go from here. The number 31 machine, Dylan Petit, maintains a 9th spot now. James McKee gonna fall back into 10th. It looks like with all the shuffling, we're back on our way. But Roberto Ramirez comes down pit road this time through, and 32 laps in, it's the move for the number 42. He makes it in just like that. And with only a few more minutes remaining on the board, it's going to be a total of 17 left. Every final move must be made here. And now Dylan Clark holds on strong in the number 5 machine as they make it in time after time. It's going to be 16 minutes on the clock for the man who's dominated this race so far. Now scored as the leader by just about 45 seconds. Chad Winstead is 44 back at the moment, and it is the remainder of the pack trying to chase down everyone else except for that leader. It looks like right now he is intangible. He's almost a minute ahead of the field. And with this being all said and done, Ramirez is now on the same cycle. Will Clark come down a pit road and get the new tires this time by? It all signs point to yes. Dylan Clark is in this time by, and this is going to be the final pit stop for your leader, and it might just be one of the final pit stops all night long. Now 5 comes in and dominates this race so far, but with now 16 minutes on the board, will he dominate the final quarter? Let's find out. Chad Winstead there in second in that number 34. It's Scott Wheeler in second, and it's Roberto Ramirez now in fourth. This is the best chance that Chad Winstead has had in quite some time to gain some time as he comes through the back stretch. He's blazing, but it's not going to be enough. It looks like Clark going to be able to get on his way here and now. 29 seconds in the pit box, and then he gets going, or does he? Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a slower stop than most, and now back on the move. Here we have it, Dylan Clark back on the way, and Chad Winstead there in second. 9-3 Puggy coming to the chat to show support for Roberto Ramirez, and that number 42 currently just outside of the podium with newer tires. He has the newest set out of everyone besides your race leader, and that number 42 now is only just about 1 second off of the 97, your defending champion. Scott Wheeler, we haven't talked all too much about his title defense this season, but he has been as solid as he's needed to be so far. 8th position coming into this one on the playoff marker, so he's just above the cutoff line, but with a race like this, ran to the podium all night long, it might be good enough to send him in to the next round just like that. He had a good enough amount of playoff points built up beforehand, and a lot of guys in the championship running have fallen out of contention, but might all come in his favor as the night goes on. Wheeler's made himself known as one of the best in the business here in the Roval, and he has held no prisoners in his own right. 3rd spot as it stands. He's about 20 seconds off your leader, but still doing very well. Roberto Ramirez, though, now getting heat in the tires and going to chase him down for the 3rd spot here in Charlotte. Can it happen or will it happen? It all remains to be seen as everything gets equalized one final time, and it looks like all but 1, 2, 3 drivers are on the same cycle here. It looks like the man in that number 93 and Justin Gibbs, the highest up till not taking a pit stop yet. 32 laps at the moment without one stop. And Dylan Clark still going to be leading the way here. Let's take it back to the battles in the midfield. Right now, it still looks like Dylan Petit is fighting for each and every position. He's currently right now 1 minute and 14 seconds off of your leader, but he's only about 0.6 of a second away from James McKee. Adam Bozzi right there as well, and Bozzi's getting closer and closer, and any slip-up could mean a pass made just like that. These guys are all on very similar levels of tire except for Adam Bozzi. Bozzi's on a 20-lap road stint, so he has a bit of a disadvantage as the night goes on. The wear will become more noticeable. Wear and tear coming into that number 27 machine's Toyota Camry, and the Goodyear rubber fading away just like that. If it doesn't stick to you like glue, that grip will go away and it will fade further and further until it all decays. But right now, Bozzi running very well in the 11th spot, and it looks like he'll be able to hold on until the checkered flag falls. Good for him so far. As Justin Gibbs comes down pit road, it's going to be 10th for him now as he cycles up to the top 10. It looks like Caleb Morsey and Casey Heschel are next up to get spots, but Heschel comes in, and now it looks like Morsey gets a 2 for 1. It's the 49 has to come in one more time. A bit off the cycle for him, and the Flow Racing 49 makes it in without a hitch. And looking back up front, and now is Caleb Morrissey just about 6 seconds off of Adam Bozzi, and Dylan Petit gets back in 11th. Certainly not the way the race has gone, of course, to his standard, getting involved in that incident with Dylan Petit, and then the retaliation thereafter. It set him back big time, but either way, that number 6 is still in the mix, just running at about the halfway marker throughout the entirety of the field. He is in position number 11. He got a few guys behind him and a few guys in front, but not everyone in front is in the championship battle. And notably right now, beside Dylan Clark, it is Brad Kress spoiling the party, and so is Scott Zellner. Zellner right now going to be in 5th. Great to see him holding on strong. He still is in that top 5 despite an early incident, and Roberto Ramirez now a 2.5 away from Scott. Wheeler held up a bit by that 93. He might have been. Wheeler gets out of it without much of a loss in time, and Ramirez right now has to go through that 93 as well. Let's ride on board and see what he does this time by into the front stretch chicane. Of course, that'll be by the next start-finish line, but the backstretch chicane comes first. Let's see if he takes it here and now. And a bit of a notch into the wall that time by for the 42 machine makes it nice and easy on the entry. It looks like Gibbs actually pushes it earlier through the entry and then loses a bit more time on the exit, using every inch of that infield segment the 42 does, and it looks like Gibbs going to let him by just like that. Nice and easy for the 42, and now going to be on the hunt full time for that 97 from here on out. Wheeler right in front, and he knows there's still a chance. He just got to push the limit as the 42 gets off of the final corner. He is just about 6/100ths of a second faster over the entirety of the lap. Those are gains that might work in his favor overall, but not a lot of time for him to make a 1/10 of a second up every lap. He'll have to go a bit quicker than that to get it done at the checkered flag, so not enough so far, but it could be enough at the end of the day if mistakes get made. Connor Holden right now in a bit of trouble that time through. It looks like he loses a lot of time heading into the start-finish line, but it all gets alleviated, and he'll be able to reset it and go for yet another very loose though that 81 machine is. And Holden right now for Swamp Motorsports not having the best of races, and 13th at the moment. He is further back than guys like Morrissey or Dylan Petit, and it seems like he's slowly but surely falling further down in terms of grip. 13 laps on his tires, and guys like Casey Heschel now have a new set, and they'll be able to chase him down for even more positions in their gain, and the loss of the 81 might be more and more. Adam Bozzi and James McKee next up to be lapped, and that will leave 7 drivers on the lead lap if these two get lapped this time around. 10 minutes remaining here in this event. The Buttkicker Playoff Kicker has been quite the event. Some guys kick-starting championship runs, and others finding themselves kicked to the curb. The number 5 machine now right in the sight of 2 lap machines. Let's see if we ride on board and see what he can do with both the 27 and the 9. And so far, no progress made on this position, but of course, still a lot of time to make some gains. The number 5 machine gets off to the back stretch. this time through. The number 27 right in front. It's about 3/10 of a second up. That 27 is, and then about 7/10 of a second up. The number 9 is. So as they come through the front stretch, it came next time through. It could be the back stretch. Decides where the number 5 goes. A crossover almost works for the 5 and Daniel Clark, but it looks like that it will not. They'll have to wait till another time as the single digits in minutes have made it here. 9 minutes remain on the board here and now, as right now it is Dylan Clark up ahead by 17 seconds. It's going to be now the 27 going a bit wide with the 9, and it might become 4 lap machines in front of your leader, and Dylan Petit is gaining the most from this. Might be able to make his way back onto the lead lap, as right now he's 1 lap down in 10th, and Roberto Ramirez was about a second on his average lap that time by, but he's still chasing down the 97 of Wheeler. And while chasing down that number 97, Roberto does find himself about 3.5 seconds off, which is about 2 seconds worse than where he was before. In the wall, the 42 goes, and now the Ramirez machine is in big trouble. He just has to come to the checkered flag for big time points, but it looks like that could be in jeopardy with multiple incidents within the span of 1 lap's time. So Roberto gonna have to put it back in motion, get his sights set on the checkered flag, and nothing more, nothing less. It's a big deal to make it there with all this on the line. He's in 4th as it stands, not in jeopardy of losing it, and he just has to make sure he comes home without a hitch. That might be a bit of a problem though, as the number 42 now finds himself a bit further off of the 97 time after time. The 97 gains, and Wheeler now finds himself strongly in that podium, and it could be the rebound run he needs to get himself clearly over that cutoff line. And looking further back right now, guys like Dylan Petit still fighting Adam Bozzi right in front. That 27 has let the leader by, and so has James McKee. The next set of lap machines, though, might have not. Andrew Baker not in it, but Ken LeCoeur, who let him by way earlier, is not as well. Guys like Corey Blevins, though, all let by the leader, and Ryan Potter makes it into turn number 1 without a hitch. The leader is now way out in front of most of these lap machines and getting by every single one of them like it is nothing. We looked at every one of them, and it looks like they're all out of the way now. It has been domination purely all night long for the number 5. Brad Kress right now in the 7th spot is about 1 minute and 12 seconds off of your leader, and he will be the next man put 1 lap down at this race. A 15-second cut through for the number 34, as right now he gained about a second off the last lap. And Chad Winstead, while quicker than your leader, he might not be quick enough. The closer he gets, it still seems like the further he is in terms of time. He'd have to go real risky to make it to the checkered flag up in front of the 5, and I'm not sure if it's even possible without a mistake out of that number 5 camp. The Chevy Camaro, your leading man, has not slipped up all night long. Not a slip up worth more than about 8/10 of a second compared to his average lap. So he has been incredibly consistent, and so has Chad Winstead. But overall, that number 5 seems to have the cutting edge over everyone else. It's a Chevy as your leading man, then it's going to be a Ford and another Ford in the 97. Ramirez leads the Toyota, so it is 3 manufacturers in 4 positions. Then Scott Zeller going to be in 5th, and then Alan Cummins in 6th as your second to last man on the lead lap. Brad Kress is the final man with the leaders right now, and 7th spot he is in. That number 29 is indeed still there. However, he's slowly but surely clawing himself out of the hole for the 8th spot, but finding himself clawed into the spot to go 1 lap down. Dylan Clark, with now 5 minutes and 46 seconds remaining, still has a chance to make it happen as they go through the final segment of the infield oval. Once again, the infield road course, that is, makes its way out to the oval. And Dylan Clark, that time by, compared to the Brad Kress machine, was about 1 second quicker, gaining about a second a lap at the very least, is very good news for that number 5. And it seems like the good news keeps on coming. Nobody in sight, and another man to be put down 1 lap. It's an incredible night so far for that number 5, and the battles right now, they're still brewing. Bozzi with McKee, they made their way up from the 15th and 16th spots, or actually about the 11th and 12th positions, down to 8th and 9th. They're getting down to the single digits, and they've made their way through all night long. A strong run it's been indeed, but certainly looking for just a bit more Of course, wanting a lead lap finish, but it seems like tonight that will not be the case. Your regular season champion and James McKee leads the number 27 through SB Designs as the sponsor for that beautiful number 9 machine, and a proud partner. SB Designs is with this league, always representing well with that number 9, as it seems like nothing more can be done so far for the cause of this championship leader. Will he be out of this race? Not quite sure. The number 5 of Dylan Clark has less than 5 minutes remaining to close this race out, and it seems like everything has gone his way from this point. Of course, everything before as well, from start to finish, from practice to this race, the qualifying, immaculate pole position, and he's led every lap to this point by at least 10 seconds. When he got the gap, he has kept it all the way up. And with Dylan Clark having 4 minutes left, looking in the further backpack, James McKee still battling big with the man in that number 31. Dylan Petit is in the mix with Adam Bozzi now. It's going to be a 3-car battle if the number 31 can make his way in. How about this? It's still a big battle, and every spot matters for those in the championship contention. Got a word with Dylan Petit earlier tonight. He said he'd need good luck, and it looks like tonight it's all fallen in his favor. Of course, contact with Caleb Morrissey, and getting that retaliation very early gave him the edge over the number 6, but now Morrissey only one spot back, has not lost all too much. Certainly not going to be happy regarding what happened, but still making the best of a not-so-great situation, as he has the 42 go right by him that time through, and Ramirez makes his way into yet another spot, however, not for position. Good driving as Morrissey goes right around the start-finish line, able to save it, but still bad news. As we mentioned, the number 6 gets out of control, pushing to the limit in that number 6. The channel lock machine locks it down, and he keeps it going nonetheless. And still leading the way, Dylan Clark with 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining goes down to the inside line on Andrew Baker. Morrissey still stays in 11th, but now Justin Gibbs is within 2 seconds. Justin Gibbs in this 93 wants to make it happen, and he's been desperately chasing down every driver up in front. With Morrissey fading further and further back, there's now a chance for one final position. Can it happen this time through, though? We'll find out. It looks like the Justin Gibbs machine now has pace out of nowhere that nobody else can replicate besides the leaders up in front. For the man running in 12th, he has about 10th place pace, so it is a bit quicker than he is in the timing sheet, and that's an advantage he has in front of guys like Morrissey and even Dylan Petit. Adam Bozzi and James McKee running 1 minute and 23 second laps, and still James McKee is slightly quicker than the rest in this bunch. So good news for the man in that number 9. He's pulling slowly but surely away from his adversary in this race, and as they keep it going, keep it kicking, it's 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining as James McKee keeps himself in 8th. Brad Kress right now 1 minute and 15 seconds ahead of your leading driver, and that is 1 minute and 15 seconds ahead, 5 seconds or so away from being put 1 lap down. It will be only about 6 drivers on the lead lap if Dylan Clark can get himself through. Dylan Clark, oh so close. It's been comfort for him and nobody else all night long. It could be a checker flag performance, the likes of which we have not seen all season long. The most dominant performance on an oval was Alan Koopman at Darlington, led almost every lap, and Brad Kress big time inside, and that's going to be it. Kress now 1 lap down, and we'll find out just why. That number 29 goes right around with just about 2 laps remaining, and let's find out what happened. Brad Kress in the 29 finds himself overshooting the backstretch chicane, hits the sausage curbs, and nothing more he can do. Almost heads into the trilogy wall, gets out of it, and while he does not lose a spot, he loses an awful lot of time, and the two battling are still gaining more and more. 3.5 seconds remain now as only 6 drivers are on the lead lap, and Alan Koopman is the next man in the warpath. And how about this performance? Only 2 retirees all night long, the rest of which still going as Ryan Potter in trouble this time by 99 gets it going once again. And while it is a bit of trouble, he still has it on the double. Let's find out what happened to the 99 machine coming out of the front stretch chicane. And it looks like he's going to hit the sausage curve. No, he goes right off the grass, and it's a slow down penalty there. So he's going to take the penalty and go on without much more. 15th spot as is for Ryan Potter, not his strongest night, but still keeping it in good condition for the most part. That car will come home in one piece. That's what he needs as the white flag waves next time by. Now, Dylan Clark has not made it to the final lap just yet, so that's a timing and scoring error. We'll let you know when he officially makes it to the white flag. This time is due to be your final lap of racing as Dylan Clark makes it in. This time by, it's going to be one final circuit around Charlotte Motor Speedway, and what a night it has been for the number 5 as he makes it into the final segment, the front stretch chicane, inside, outside, one lap to go, and it is a time and scoring error saying is at the checkered flag. He's still got one more left in him. And Dylan Clark going to make it around one more time under competition. The checkered flag has not fallen just yet, and Clark is still pushing. 5 Machine goes right up high. This might be the best lap he's put down in quite some time. He's still much quicker than the rest of the field. With an 18-second gap, drivers coming to the final lap this time by. It is the white flag out. The checkered is not the case. That's a timing and scoring error. And the number 5 looking to lap one more man. It looks like it'll be Andrew Baker put down yet another lap as Roberto Ramirez disconnects from the session. He's doing a full-on lap though. Dylan Clark is, and Ramirez disconnects there, so it's a bit confusing, but I do believe it will be it. And it looks like the race will be called then and there. So with all that said and done, as he comes down to the start-finish line, it will be Dylan Clark making it official, and the checkered flag will fall in due time. A slow final lap to get it through. It looks like all finishing positions are just about official, and as he comes down the line this time by yet another dominating performance, going 2 for 2 in the road courses, and most importantly, kicking off the playoffs with a bang. And as he comes around this time by to make it for real, it's going to be Dylan Clark getting it done in the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff. Race 13 goes to the number 5, a nice sweep of the stages, and the checker flag is his. Dylan Clark gets it done from Charlotte and burns it down immediately thereafter. The number 5 makes it in and burns down the house just like that. And Dylan Clark burns down the house in Charlotte Motor Speedway with a dominating finish of the remainder of the field. How about this one? The 5 comes home with win number 2, and it couldn't have been at a more important time. Getting it done in style, the number 5 machine finishes off his second win in a dominating fashion. Take a look at the results. Dylan Clark wins over Chad Winstead by 18 seconds, with Scott Wheeler in third, 19 seconds back. Roberto Ramirez is going to be in fourth. He qualifies 6th, makes it up 2 spots, 25 seconds off, and Scott Zellner comes home in 5th. At the end of the day, the final man in the lead lap is going to be Alan Kuhlman in 6th, and the rest of the field at least 1 lap down. How about that? Brad Kress going to be in 7th, James McKee in 8th, Adam Bozzi going to be in 9th, and Dylan Petit in 10th as Caleb Morrissey comes home in 11th. Justin Gibbs 12th. Casey Hesher going to be in 13th, and Connor Holden holds on for 14th. It's going to be Ryan Potter making his way to a 15th place finish, and Kendall Kerr in position number 16. It's going to be Corey Blevins 17th, Andrew Baker in a 18th spot, and then DJ Stagner in 19th, with Kenny Brooks being the final man 38 laps down in position number 20. And with all that said and done, Dylan Clark gets it done in a dominating fashion. No other driver quite like him here in the road courses, and he goes undefeated in them this season, and it's absolutely what he needed. It's the medicine for a championship run anyone would want, and it seems like it comes at the perfect time. And with all that said and done, race number 13, the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff, it is to the favor of the number 5 machine, Dylan Clark. You get it done here at the Charlotte Roval. How do you feel after yet another dominating performance to make it in to victory lane?
I feel it. It feels amazing. That Ital Cart Chevrolet Camaro was super fast all night, and I feel bad for having to move Bossy, but I felt like I was in danger of get involved in an incident if he had to move. I think it was 9 McKee. I feel bad for it, but I felt like I was in danger, and I can't jeopardize a win and going into the next round of the playoffs.
And it looks like you take the win as soon as you can get an opportunity. What a way to start it. Now, you do enter this race above the cut line, and this is going to be a big, big boost. Stages, the overall win, and you just about led every second of this race. So what's it going to mean for you with the rest of the season on the line? The next race is going to be actually not at a Roval, of course. It's going to be at Kansas for round number 14.
This is big. This is really big, especially with points boost. The next round is not my strong round with Bristol, and I forget the second race of that second round, but definitely the points boost was needed, and I feel good going into Kansas. I'm pretty good there, so I feel like we had a good night and had a good points night, and continue this momentum onto Kansas and into the next round.
And it is big time momentum for the next race in the playoffs. And tonight, you kick it off with a dominating win. How about the statement race for Dylan Clark here in Charlotte? Now, any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
Just great racing from everyone. That was super fun. First time I've had fun at the Roval in a while. So that was a breath of fresh air. I'd like to thank Italian Motors USA, Talcart. They sponsor me in real life. They really help out a lot. Therma-Tru Doors and Orpac, they also hopped on the car this week. They're going to be the main primaries next week at Kansas, and thanks to them for again sponsoring real life my kart racing. You for putting on an awesome show every single week. We appreciate it. We appreciate the hard work that you put in, all of the time that you devote to us. DC Designs for this awesome paint scheme, Turtle Shells, and all the people back at TSM for really helping me out. Justin, Tyler, Ethan Michaels, Josh Susi. They help a ton with teaching me how to oval race. That's not my strong suit. And my parents for giving me this awesome sim rig.
And how about this? The rookie goes at it again and puts together a champion's drive for the second time at a road course. The Charlotte Roval and the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff goes to Dylan Clark in a dominating race from stripe to stripe. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. See you next week.
And there we have it. Dylan Clark going to be on the move. What a win for him. And in position number 2, not too far behind at the end of the day, Chad Winstead. This one is crucial for you as well. A second place finish and a great points night here in Charlotte. How do you feel after this one?
I feel pretty good. I mean, I'll always take second place, but wish I could have had a little more speed and grip for Dylan up there. Just couldn't match his pace.
And despite not matching the leader here, it seems like you were head and shoulders above the rest of these guys, at least when it came down to your strategy. 22 laps on that final stint, split it just about half and half, and you made it work all the way. So what was the real key factor in keeping yourself up there? Was it just track position, keeping yourself in check, or was the tire strategy much more important?
Well, I think I was catching some lap traffic there and decided to cut it one lap short. Just go ahead and come down to get my fuel. No tires there. Just running. I was actually running better lap times there at the end of the race, but I just kind of accepted second place, probably about lap 15, 16, somewhere along in there. I knew I couldn't catch him. He was just pulling on me probably a half a second a lap, so I was actually running about another half a second off my normal pace, what I was running in practice, and just wanted to not make a mistake.
And avoiding mistakes seemed to be the way to go tonight to get yet another great points night for the number 34 operation. Now, next up on the schedule, race number 14. It's an elimination one already. Kansas, you'll be firmly above the cut line for this next event, but what will it take to seal the deal and head to the round of 8?
I'm just hoping that I can actually make the race. I got to have a little minor surgery on Monday, so hopefully I'll be able to actually climb in and race come Thursday. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I was really hoping to get the win, maybe just take it easy and miss that race. But yeah, I'm going to try my best to be there and just run consistent. I'm usually fairly quick at those tracks, the 1.5 to 2 mile tracks. So yeah, just hope to have a good strategy and stay up near the front, get a top 5 for a win.
and hoping to stay up front. And we're hoping to see you there next week as well. Chad Winstead, second tonight in the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff. Any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
I just thank all my friends and family that are watching. I know a few people tuned in tonight, so hopefully it was a fun show.
And of course, a great show with a 34 out in front. Second spot for Chad Winstead here in the Charlotte Roll. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And there we have it. Chad Winstead, second tonight, and the final man in this podium. Well, a man who actually caught some damage earlier in the going, but was able to go through it nonetheless. Damage and all, you're able to make it home with a bit on the front end and a great finish to go right there with it. Scott Wheeler, position number 3 here tonight in the Roval. How do you feel after this one?
I feel pretty good. That's exactly what needed to happen tonight after getting a penalty last week for passing under the yellow line. So good consistency. That'll help create a buffer. But thankfully, the damage wasn't that bad either.
And it looks like able to avoid a major issue there. Some damage early in the going, but you kept going through it and were able to make yourself back up to the front. So how was it managing the track? Because it seems like the race was not always against the drivers. You had to pace the track as well as you could to stay up front.
Yeah, you just had to, drive it slow in the infield section and then make sure you're not taking too much curb through the chicanes. The diffuser on the back of the car will bounce it, so you can't get on the throttle, or if you do and it's bouncing, it'll spin you out. So just, taking your time, really. Slow is fast for that infield section. So managing to do that and then started putting together some pretty good laps at the end.
And it looks like a great push at the end to keep yourself there solidly in third. Now, it looks like you came into this one above the cut line on that 8th spot, and you'll be firmly above it after this one, but it's not all sealed up. Kansas, one final shot for every driver to make their impression of the round of 8. What's it going to take for you to keep yourself in here?
I think just go to Kansas and have a good finish. I feel pretty good about going there, so keep it in the top 10, or ideally want to win, obviously, but just running well, and then we should be okay. But can't take it for granted. Anything could happen.
And anything could happen in Kansas tonight. Anything could happen at one of the trickiest road courses in NASCAR. Scott Wheeler overcame it. Third position on the podium in the playoff kickoff, brought to you by Buttkicker Haptics. Any final thoughts? Anyone else you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank my teammates, Scott and Caleb. Bummer for Scott to have that happen at the beginning of the race. He was really fast. Honestly, I don't know if I could have passed him. It would have been a pretty good race the whole way. You guys for doing the broadcast and making some changes last minute. You do a great job. It's always great to watch them back. And then everybody that puts on the league, Toby, Kendall, Bossy, everybody that has a say in doing this, it's appreciated, and it's a good time. So we'll move on to Kansas and hope to stay alive.
And a great time out in front for the 97 of Scott Wheeler to come home with the final spot on the podium here in the Roval. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And there we have it. Wheeler going to be on his way, wheeling his way to a third place finish. But Dylan Clark, as he always has been in this season, a road course ringer, winning both by a dominating margin. And tonight he makes his mark on the playoff picture, winning the first one of the next race, going to be at Kansas in this series. So watch out for the first elimination race of these playoffs. Keep an eye out for that indeed. Now, that being said, this ends this presentation of the Highline Racing League ASC Services and Supply Premier Series. A great win for Dylan Clark out in front tonight. That number 5 machine on his A game all night long. We hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation, brought to you by, of course, myself, David LaCroix. It's great to have you all aboard. If you enjoyed the broadcast, be sure to leave a like on the channel and subscribe as well. We'd love to have you on board for the long term. Gonna thank y'all for watching once again. It's been a presentation of the Buttkicker Playoff Kickoff, the 13th round of the Premier Series season number 15. Thank y'all for watching. We hope you have a great night from our studio to your homes. Thank y'all for watching, and we hope you enjoy.